Slow processing does not mean dumb. In fact, most brains with ADHD are exceedingly smart and gifted. They do, however, take longer to process on the whole, and this is just one of the realities of this disability. So, today in this episode, you are going to learn why slow processing occurs in ADHD and what to do to help it get faster. Thank you for watching and for tuning in today. I create this content for free to educate my parents and to empower you and your students. I want you to help yourself to still more resources at annieadjin.com and feel free to reserve your own coaching session with me there. So let's define slow processing. It simply is a delay or sluggishness in the way that a student takes in information, processes it, thinks about it, and then responds to it. In the classroom, slow processing might look like the student who is the last to raise their hand with an answer, or the student who takes 5 minutes to write a short answer response to a reading comprehension passage instead of the normal 2 or 3 minutes. And sometimes when you ask a child a question verbally, you might observe a somewhat blank stare or a flat face with a longer than normal, almost a little awkward silence until they're finally ready to answer the question. So there are some examples of what slow processing might look like. Now, here are three reasons why mental processing is often slower in brains with ADHD. First is inattention and distractibility. So, these are very common traits of textbook ADHD. It takes far more concentration and cognitive fuel for a person with ADHD to direct their brain, start a task, complete a task, and all the while keeping competing distractions at bay. Second reason for slow processing is that the ADHD brain has impaired working memory. So I want you to imagine a clown who is juggling five, six, or even seven bowling pins or balls all at the same time. The ADHD brain can only juggle two or three things in their mind at once in order to complete, let's say, like an algebraic equation. And they are also more likely to drop one of those pins or balls being juggled at the same time. That is, forget an item of information that they need to successfully compute that algebra question, thus forcing their brain to backstep or even start all over again. So you can just imagine how frustrating that would be with compromised working memory. Now, the third reason is stamina. And this is sometimes referred to as goal directed persistence. And the teen with ADHD has far less cognitive stamina and even less physical stamina needed to stay the course and to finish, especially when it comes to finishing non preferred tasks. They will always get tired faster, they will give up more easily, and often they will altogether avoid the activities that they dread. So they really do have less fuel in their cognitive tanks. And so now you see that inattention, distractibility, compromised working memory, and decreased stamina and perseverance. All of these really contribute to slower processing in a brain with ADHD. Next, we are going to cover five things that are effective strategies that you can easily employ to prop up and speed up cognitive processing. The first is think time. Think time, and plenty of it, is so important. And time sometimes feels a little unnatural, but that's okay. Give kids plenty of time to get their thoughts in order, to reduce their anxiety, and to finally respond. Silence is golden. It's okay to be silent and wait. And your child's brain needs a beat or two or a whole measure of silent thinking time before they can be cued back in and provide a response. Number two is use lots of visual aids. I want you to talk less and show more visually. Present information with diagrams and charts, images, emoticons, GIFs, memes. All students love the visual, and pictures will definitely help students with ADHD process information more easily. Number three is chunking. I want you to chunk information. Chunking school work And chores, even stuff at home, means to break down tasks and instructions as well into a smaller and more manageable bite size, if you will. But even the act of chunking is a sophisticated process and is going to require assistance from you, mom and dad. So help your kids chunk down a large assignment into small portions over a whole week, maybe even a whole 2 weeks, and make sure that all those mini due dates are reflected in the student planner. That part they can help you with. Number four is going to be to provide clear and concise instructions. Keep instructions very straightforward and simple. Use very concise language. Also, remember to use all those visual cues over words whenever possible. I find that it's super helpful to use lists: one, two, three. Kiddo, do this first, and then this second, and then next this, and last that. Be very straightforward. And avoid providing too much information at once. It will always overwhelm the brain's circuitry and it could burn out completely. Lastly is number five, and this is to incorporate many frequent breaks. So allow short breaks during lessons to help students recharge and refocus at school and at home. May I introduce you to the mighty tomato timer? The Pomodoro technique is used all over the world for a reason. It is a panacea for sharpening time management, starting tasks, finishing tasks, planning and prioritizing tasks, persevering through to the end of a task. You name it. If you have a task, you need this mighty tomato timer. Use the Pomodoro at least 3 times a day until it becomes a habit. Make this a habit for your kiddo and all your children at home. You can get them each a tomato timer or a pear or a strawberry or the fruit of their choice. Practice the Pomodoro and it will be a game changer. Remember at the start of our episode when we talked about stamina, the ADHD brain has far less of it, remember? But with the Pomodoro technique, you can better conserve the limited stamina by hyper focusing on a task that needs to be done for 20 or 25 timed minutes and then taking the diffused break during which the knowledge is consolidated, transferred to long term memory banks, retained, and most importantly, the cognitive tank gets filled up during the break and it's ready to come back and focus once again for the next 25-minute Pomodoro. So, today, folks, we have learned why slow processing occurs in almost all ADHD brains and 5 easy things that you can do to speed it up and make it more efficient for your son, for your daughter, and perhaps for your very own brain. I want to thank you for learning today with me, and please let me know what more you would like to discover together. Parents, I'm always here for you, and I'm Annie Adjen, your academic and ADHD coach, and I am wishing you all A's in every endeavor. Adios.